Yeah, it's me, Vic Purcell, and you are now listening to Now Until Up. And this is a special episode. This is my first guest, and I happen to be in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, you know what? I'm down here. Let me hit up hybrid athlete Daniel Hickman. He is a dad athlete. He is the founder of the Competitive Edge podcast. And me and this guy have went head to head in High Rocks. I have not beat him yet, but one day.
Still time.
One day, still time.
Till we're 70, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, man. But what's going on?
Yeah, man. We're here at Get It Core Fitness. This is where I became competitive again. As a former professional ice hockey player, I was competitive, but then I lost my edge and got married, had kids, had a house, and just lost myself. I gained about 35 pounds and close to getting diabetes medication I turned down. But coming here reminded me to just put my health first, and I'm a better person for my family and myself by taking care of the man in the mirror. So here at Get It Core Fitness, hybrid athlete, I'm the host of the Competitive Edge podcast. There's 9 episodes right now. It's already almost up to 500 downloads, so I'm excited about that. Had some really good guests so far. His friend David Magida. Everybody knows David Magida, big champion right now, North American, right? So, yeah, it's just really exciting, and it's just going all in the right direction.
And I think, this is big for me because I want people to know what I'm paying attention to and to be exposed to the things that I'm, finding interesting. And I think that this hybrid fitness space is still fairly new. There are other platforms out there that I would say started in the obstacle course racing space that are doing great coverage of the current hybrid space, but it's always room for different voices and different backgrounds, and there's nobody that I know that's talking about being an athlete and a father. If you're out there, hit us up. You need to go on this podcast. But
Yeah.
I just think that for me, I'm curious. I'm not a father. One day, wishful thinking, but it's good hearing some of these conversations and hearing about how some of you guys balance this thing out.
It's a crazy thing because us dads, us men, we don't like to share anything that's not masculine. So in these conversations, it's pretty cool because we're just diving in deep, father to father, and we're learning from each other. We're not competing against each other, but even if we are, I met some great brothers on the course, and now Brandon Benign, we're texting on the phone. It's Mike Staley, we're talking on Instagram all the time. These are guys, when you roll up on the starting line, you don't even know who they are, but you know who they are, but they know who you are, and you're just competitive. But then at the end, you're like brothers. So knowing how he has 2 kids and Mike has 2 kids and how they juggle their day, there's a lot of common ground, but also there's a lot of things that I'm getting from the podcast that's helping me to be a better man for my 3 girls and a better husband for my wife, but most importantly, just a better hybrid athlete that's just taking stuff seriously right now.
Yeah, that's important, and I think that a thing that I look at is you talk about the competitive edge, that's the name of your podcast.
Yeah,
but
man.
People lose their competitive edge. They think, I got to do this, I got to take care. Of course, you have to take care of your family, but from what I've heard from listening to some of these shows is you kind of get more focused, or you get refocused when you have the structure that you have with your daughters and your wife, where I have to train at this time, I got to get it in at this time, and now it's time to focus back on the family and feeding my family.
Yeah, and if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of your family properly. I mean, how can I tell my kids to go do sports if I'm eating donuts all day or eating unhealthy and not taking care of my body? Or all day I'm not wearing a shirt at home. Showing my kids I'm comfortable and I'm confident about the way I feel and the way I look, and I love the man in the mirror. So for the dads out there that used to be in my shoes when I was 35 pounds overweight and I was eating and drinking like a fish, it's living in the past, all that stuff. It's not good, and it definitely moves on to your kids. And I love the fact that they're here doing the rings in this gym, Get It Core Fitness, better than I can at 7 and 9 years old. So they're watching when we least expect it.
Okay. So since you talked about your kids, this isn't specific to that, but
Yeah.
we kind of chatted about this before we started recording. I have my views on where I see the potential of the hybrid fitness racing space going. I don't know, should we call it fitness racing or hybrid fitness racing?
Whatever.
Whatever it is.
Hybrid stuff.
Yeah, hybrid stuff, right? Where do you see the sport going in the future, whether it be in the U.S., whether it be worldwide, or whatever the case may be? What do you think?
Man, it's growing. Just to see the DECA World Championship, the first one, seeing how people are just cracking these amazing times. The sky's the limit right now. Like, people are doing unbroken wall balls in high rocks, and now everyone's doing ski ergs and rowers, and now they got strategies. I mean, something new could be happening. DECA and high rocks are gonna have to stay on their toes because something could be coming up later down the pipe. They should be ready, and the athletes are gonna be ready because we're training all the time.
Yeah, we just got a little bit in and here, and
Yeah.
it was just enough, right? And, I'm traveling. I don't want to get too toasted on the
I
road.
invited him to a run on the bridge, and he's like, "Nah, how far is that?" Well, I mean, it is a tough bridge, man. The elevation's pretty high.
I'm gonna run in the morning, so
Cool.
I gotta balance my work.
At least go one time on the bridge. It's
Okay.
Acosta Bridge. You got it.
I'll do one. I do one trip over the bridge. But
It's cool, man.
I think so. Are your kids interested in like doing? They see you doing wall balls, and they like, oh, I want to try this.
She just took a little ball and thrown. I'm trying to work, right? I work from home, and she's just getting my attention. I'm working, and she's just like throwing the ball up and down. So they do everything that we love. Anything we love, they want to do what daddy's doing or mommy's. That's it.
So they see you, and it's like a mirror, right? So
Yeah.
this is like the next better hybrid version.
It really
you know?
is. It really is. And who knows? I mean, these kids are. I think my daughter was 6 and my other one was 8 when they did their first DECA at Heidi Williams Gym, the CrossFit Warpath in Punta Gorda. So it was too much for them. But we made the weights like really crazy light, but they did the DECA and they loved it. They come here and they do the tank, right? And you put on the no setting, and they just push it back and forth, and they go on the rings, and they have a little softball, and they put it over their shoulder. They love it. It's cool.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. What would be if you could design a hybrid race? What would it be? What would it include? That's a loaded question, but I just want you to think about that for a
Just
second.
right off the bat, it's kind of what we did today. It's a mixture between, if we had the garage open, we would have done a quick little lap, but something like a 200-meter run into a DECA movement, 200-meter run into a high rocks, like mixing DECA and high rocks as a hybrid together, but running. Maybe like the first run could be a kilometer, and then the rest of the runs could be 200 meters, and the finisher is a 1,000-meter run. But taking everything that we love from those sports and mixing it together, but having different segments. So like having a 1 mile version, or just like DECA Strong did, no running, and then a 5K, and then keep the 10K. You know what I mean? Or go from there. So that's what I think. It's just being able to cater to everybody. That's what I love about DECA is that you have people that don't know how to run. They do DECA Strong. If they know how to run and they're super skinny and ran in college, they're doing DECA Fit. Okay. But high rocks, you got no choice. Yeah. It's just
gotta run.
You just gotta run. That's it.
Run.
But if they came out with a 5K version, it's me.
Yeah. I look at it like I like the way high rocks is set up, but I want heavier stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to make it easier for other people. I want it to be easier for me. I think if it was more heavy stuff,
yeah,
this maybe reduce the running a little bit, but maybe not. I think I could make up time if you add in some heavy sandbags.
I think now that we're seeing a lot of people that were serious runners in college or for their country or whatever, and then coming and just picking up weights and now being a force, like Megan Jacoby, like, you know what I mean? Like people like that, or Rich Ryan that had a running background and they just, or Dylan Scott, like for me, I wasn't a runner, so I'm learning running and hybrid at the same time. So they kind of have that advantage. But if you see a lot of people leaning towards that way, I think the hybrid world needs to throw something else to separate the two. For people like us that are 200, I'm 200 pounds. Like I don't think these other guys are that. I mean, the Hunter is, but
But he's an anomaly,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
he's a
like,
different dude. But I just think there should be something for everybody, and that's what DECA is doing correctly.
okay, yeah, I think the DECA, what was the show that they did? The YouTube like show, but they had like a DECA heavy.
Oh
I
yeah,
like the
yeah.
DECA heavy format.
Games, Spartan games.
The Spartan games, they had a DECA heavy format,
Yeah,
and I was like that. I would like to see a little bit more of that, because I
they
think
have
DECA
this. They have
strong.
this Titan thing. It's like a metal.
Hmm.
It's like shaped like this, and you have to carry. It's a hard son of a bitch. So you have to like walk with it and then do 5 squats, and then walk with it five. It was pretty serious.
Yeah, so that to me is that's what I'm leaning towards. So if I had to design my own
Yeah, yeah.
race, I would put some heavier things there. But I like what we have so far. I think that
It's a good
again, it
start.
doesn't need to be one race. Like you can have multiple race companies at multiple events for people to train up and have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, like anything else you want to talk about? I know you got your show.
Yeah, man. I mean, this show is a gift. It's a gift for me and others. I mean, I told my wife, hey, if people don't even listen to it, I'm gonna get something out of it because, like, listen to Brandon Benign, Mike Staley, David Magida, all these guys. I got like 3 or 4 things that I got from them that I'm already incorporating in my life and making changes. So I want to thank those guys for coming on my show. There's another 9 guys I got booked, like Tom Hogan, Dylan Scott, New Father, all these guys coming on, and it's a blessing to for these guys to want to come on the show. And I'm just being regular Dan. There's no special anything. I mean, I've been talking on the phone since 2010, recruiting doctors, but for my business, but it's just cool, just learning from these guys.
Yeah, I think it's important that you put yourself out there because it's not easy, right? It's not easy to talk
No.
and people are going to have opinions and you're going to have trolls on the internet the bigger you get. But my thought was I talked to my sister about this because my sister's is
Yeah,
to me she's big on Instagram. To her she might not be that big, but
yeah,
basically you just got to put it out. You know what I mean? And be yourself. And the way I'm looking at things is it's a mind dump, right? I'm
yeah,
just kind of, my first couple of postings that I've done was just me talking.
yeah,
But I'm like, I have a lot of opinions and I have a lot of thoughts. So let me just put some simple things out there. And there's already been people that hit me up about things. They want me to talk about things that I wasn't really expecting, right?
yeah,
So just keep doing what you're doing
yeah,
because I think you have a story and you have a viewpoint that hasn't been heard yet,
yeah.
and you should just keep
Especially
putting out
nowadays,
shows.
nobody we can't please everybody. So I'm not the guy. I used to be the guy. And we were talking about that on the way here. I used to be the guy that would care about what people thought about me all the time. And I was telling him when my mother-in-law passed away, we lived right next to each other. It changed everything in our life. It went from selling stuff and donating a whole garage of her things and living at a certain status level in a cookie cutter neighborhood where, I got the suburban, oh, you got, it's like, or who's driving the golf cart in the neighborhood? Like, we left that life and I really don't care what other people think. Um, but haters will also help you to grow your following as well, because they will spit the fire and truth sometimes, and you might be able to get something from it that might make us better. So it's always good to get that tough love in a mean way, but it is what it is. But for me, um, I think what you're doing is really awesome because you're just being yourself. You got on the camera and you're just talking, and that's you. You know what I mean? I don't even have a specific format. There's specific questions I want to ask, but they're not going in that order, and that's what it's all about. It's just really fathers learning from fathers, and we're all in the hybrid space. And I think everybody it doesn't. You don't have to race. That's not what I'm saying in my podcast. Um, it's you have to be able to look in the man in the mirror and be comfortable with looking at that man in the mirror. Because for me, for about 2 years, I couldn't look in that man in the mirror or take my shirt off in public. So that does a lot to a man, where they're just kind of drinking their sorrows away and have to have that 6-pack or the beer, not 6-pack, but but yeah, I can go on a tangent for days on that, but
Nah, man, it's big, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like, I'll say this, well, it wasn't my first hybrid podium. It was my second podium, but it was my first High Rocks podium. And
Yeah.
my only so far.
yeah, man,
But
same.
I shared it with this guy, right?
Yeah.
And it was in New York.
From that moment.
You know, he was first, I was third, you know, and maybe next time I'll be first. But,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I
that's-
remember seeing you on the rower, and you started the heat before me, I think.
maybe.
I think you did.
I did, yeah, we didn't
And,
start at the same time.
I saw you in the rower, and you just finished up. But it was something about the guy was just like pulling it. I think you had the braids and stuff going, and I was like, all right, okay, I'll go too. You know what I mean? But it was cool because there's not that many at the time minorities doing High Rocks. So I
There's
was like,
more coming in.
I was like, all right, man, let's go. All right. So, anyways, but seeing this guy on the podium, I didn't know who he was. When he got called up, and then someone else got called up, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think I made it because I got a penalty and I ran an extra lap. So I was a little concerned about the whole thing, but sharing this, that's the example right there. Is just, I don't know who you are. We have a great time. Just suffer fest. And then right after we got off the podium and gave you dap, from there the brotherhood began. You know what I mean? Like, we went through that fight and we came on top together. And that's, I think Adam Roots was the second place, but I still connect with him. So that's what it's all about.